right, welcome to another episode of the Dragon's Tome. I am your host, Chopper, this week, and with me are ever present two straight up kind of guys. Introduce yourselves, fellas.
Hi, I'm Jack.
I'm Rob.
And together we form Voltron. Ching. So episode 37, issue 37. What do we got here on this cover? We got ourselves a little damsel. Yeah, fairy maybe. Can't tell. She's with a unicorn.
Yeah, it's a new comic strip in this issue called Jasmine by Darlene Pickle. And I guess that's Jasmine, the titular Jasmine, as they say.
Oh, well, hello, Jasmine. Welcome to Dragon Magazine.
And
we'll also point out that this is a price increase. It is explained in the beginning. Now that they're giving away free stuff, like the Jack's favorite game, Snit's Revenge, and all those other things, they're now increasing the price only when they give free stuff.
Theoretically. We'll see if
Theoretically. But
yeah,
reading ahead to today, I have yet to see the price go back to $250.
But I think there's always something added to every other issue. So. This one has a module in it, so that's why.
It does.
And in your opinion, is it the 50 cents value added that you would want to pay the extra for?
What were modules back in the 80s? They were like $4, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So 50 cents for a free module? Well, you know.
I assume this is why eventually they make Dungeon Magazine, right? All these modules. So that's what Dungeon is, right? Pretty much. So
I don't remember.
I think
we'll see.
I never got Dungeon, really.
I did occasionally, but I didn't. Dragon is kind of always where it was at for me.
Yeah.
Me too.
Cover still looks good. Darlene's a very good artist.
Oh, yeah. The quality in covers has gone up exponentially.
Yeah, I don't know. This almost looked like she used colored pencils.
Yeah, it's like the background's painted and then like a colored pencil over the top almost.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that the focus was like what you're supposed to be looking at is like very defined, refined. It's and then everything else, the background and everything was kind of like a impressionist, like a very interesting art style.
Pointillism.
I appreciated it.
I do like she likes to give homage to Scott Ian in the Unicorn.
Which, ironically, that unicorn's name is Scott Ian, so...
All right, so let's move on to some articles. Mr. Harper, would you like to start with the something grumbles?
Well, this is Dragon Rumbles, but this is a big one because Cask is out of here. And
he's been destroyed. He's not even in the masthead anymore.
No, he's quit. John Jacket is now the editor. They don't say exactly what happens to Cask. He just said he moved on, and there's an implication that he moved on to a bigger like a real magazine. So, but there's also a lot of things happening in the future. We'll see that there's a lot changing with Dragon in the next couple months. So maybe that's also why he quit. So we'll see. He also mentions that Dragon's been accused of pandering of TSR products, and they claim to be separate from their parent company. And the articles are about TSR products because that's what people want. And they did focus on Traveler at one point a couple times. But the main reason they don't have any other articles is no one submit articles about it. Cause it's all fan submitted, right? So almost all. So that's
at least especially in the beginning.
Well, even now, like all the main articles, I think, other than like the regular articles, but the features are usually fan submitted. So people got to start putting stuff in from other games, which I think in the future we'll see that. But one
thing I did notice with the masthead is that they're now putting who some of these contributing artists are as far as articles. Yeah. So some of these guys are established game people.
Yeah. And they've also added quite a few more people. Remember when it was a one-person show? Now there's quite a few people involved. There's circulation and sales and office staff, and it's Dragon's actually getting to be a real thing. It's a real boy. But,
and the crux of it is there's no staff writers. It's all 99.9% of it is fan submitted. So you can't force people from other games to see this as something they want to do. If they don't come, you don't print the stuff. That's it. It will turn into a TSR magazine through an evolution of what it is, but you can't force people to do.
Yeah, unless they are getting tons of articles submitted to them from other companies about other companies, and they're just ignoring them, which I don't think is true. But
yeah,
D&D also is AD&D and D&D are the giants of the, as it is today, probably mostly.
Sure,
there's probably more competition today, but at the time they were the thing. So I see why most things are about AD&D or D&D. So. Anyways, that was it. Dragon Rumbles is going to be a lot quieter than it used to be because I don't think Jake Jacket is the outspoken nut job that Tim Kask was. So. Kask, I think, took a page from Gygax, where Jacket, I think, is just running the even keel guy. So
yeah. All right, so Jack, what is your first article?
If we could go down to PDF. Number 8, page 8.
Number 8. Number 8.
8. That's not in the monster manual, it's called. And the article is just some... Yeah, the article is just some... It's a very long article. It goes over various pages.
I did this one too.
It's just different dragons that are neutral aligned, so they had to, instead of having by color, they did them by gem. It's all right. I just wanted to highlight, look at that picture.
It is. I mean, I thought it was a little take on new dragons. I mean,
I'm pretty sure later editions have all these neutral dragons. I don't know if they're by gems. I don't remember, but there's neutral dragons that definitely in the monster manuals by the time they're putting them in the what's it called, in the binders. I'm pretty sure I have the
Monsters Compendium.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's I knew you guys would talk about this one, so that's why I didn't choose.
I mean,
Pat,
when I saw this thing, I decided, I was thinking in my head, I mean, you have good, you have bad. I mean, why wouldn't you have in the middle?
Yeah, makes sense.
All intelligent creatures should have the spectrum, so why not?
I do like the fact that these guys like to hypnotize and take people's gems and stuff instead of gold.
Yeah, it's interesting idea. The question is, why isn't there good red dragons? Why aren't there bad platinum dragons? If they are intelligent creatures, how are they stuck in their ways?
Because Bahamut and Tiamat are vicious cult leaders.
Yeah. I guess it's nature over nurture, right? So.
Yep.
They've been taught to be those alignments.
And same with what is the name of the Ruby Dragon is the leader of the neutral dragons.
But I don't think
it becomes very apparent, and it is a theme through Dragon Magazine and through the game itself. The alignments are not the perfect system, and so things like this would happen.
No, but we're still in the very beginning. This D&D and D&D, and as evident in any of these Dragon magazines, there's always some kind of article about alignment.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think it just proves that
people just can't get it.
Yeah. Well, it's just no point to it, really.
But at the time, it was
player, I think the point was it was to add a framework so players knew how to play. But I think if you're a good player, you shouldn't have to need that, right? You should stay within your character. It's about staying within character, not necessarily within the alignment, right?
Exactly. But, alignments are just guidelines, I guess, and how... It's just hard to... alignments are just so hard to tack down because just everyone's personality is so different, and your views and values so differently from everyone else's.
Yeah.
But at
I
the time,
guess that's why twins sometimes never have the same values or likes as each other. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, nurture versus nature.
Yeah.
You're not born into your alignment. You grow up. If you're abused as a child, you're more likely to become an abuser. That kind of stuff, like or addiction.
Plus, again,
like that.
your values change, so then your alignment.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that annoys me about D&D is, as you grow, your alignment would change, probably. Like people's political affiliations change as they age. But if you change your alignment, you lose levels. So you could end up going backwards pretty fast if you go from like lawful good to lawful evil.
I'd have to actually read. I think I had the 5th edition. I think I had the 5th edition book here. I should actually look through that book and see how the alignment system works now.
It's the exact same, I'm pretty sure. So. It's a tenet for D&D, really. The alignment system is D&D. I think that's a major tentpole of the system. So,
yeah. Well, my point being, this is fledgling D&D. So, what seems like a head scratcher at this point is not even
I'm looking at it.
Red dragons are evil.
Current stuff. Currently, I'm saying that, but at the time, for sure. Yeah. Like alignments were. This is how you play the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
different
anyways,
mentality for sure.
That picture, pretty dope.
It is a dope picture. I wonder who did it. Didn't say, does it? It's one of those people that they probably said earlier. Maybe even that's the same girl as the cover. It's kind of got the same kind of style.
I love the colors. So
I was looking for the signature.
Yeah, I don't see it. It says black.
Yeah, me too.
But anyways, that's it. Pat, you're in charge.
All right. Yes. So I guess for my article, let's. I chimed in on the neutral dragon one, which is one of mine. So let's go to page 6 of the PDF.
You like the what's the one's theory and use of gates?
Yes. So this is In One Small Step, written by Ed Greenwood, who is the creator of Forgotten Realms. If you didn't know,
seeing some famous names for sure. It's pretty funny.
If you didn't know, he's the creator of the campaign system of Forgotten Realms, which is probably by far one of the more popular nowadays.
I think whenever it came out, that definitely overtook Greyhawk. Like Greyhawk's going to be the thing coming up, but
Greyhawk was the thing now. Then Forgotten Realms, and followed behind Dragonlance.
Even Dragonlance was kind of because it was different rules for Dragonlance. I think a lot of people didn't play Dragonlance. They enjoyed the books, but I don't think many people played in the world.
I mean, I played in my D&D campaign that I ran was definitely in Forgotten Realms.
Yeah. Oh, I think most people's are. Just that's when you think D&D, I think that's Forgotten Realms is what you're thinking of, really.
Plus, all the computer games are based in the Forgotten Realms book, so that was a really good thing for Ed Greenwood. Yeah. So back to the article. In One Small Step, it's the theory of use and gates. He talks about the use of gates in science fiction and fantasy books, and how to use them in the D&D, and
as in gates,
and using gates,
teleportation gates, kind of thing.
Interdimensional gates to get from one dimension to another.
Oh, I see. From going system to system.
System to system, and I like his references to Michael Moorcock. He does a lot of referencing to Elric.
Moorcock's whole thing was all about the Eternal Warrior, all these different aspects.
The hero Eternal, and he takes snippets of actual books and talks about like Tanlorn, or Tanlorn, however you wanted to pronounce it back then, is the Eternal City, and that's the one city that exists in all planes of existence in his world. And then eventually those heroes Eternals cross versions of themselves in each story and figure out, and one of them is the Brass Tower, which basically pops up from dimension to dimension, never staying in one spot for very long, but you never know how long it's going to be there. And he talks about how using that as a way to get from world to world, and to cross systems. And he talks about cross systems using, what was MA again? The game, what was that? No, it was that science fiction game that Gamma World followed.
Oh,
Traveler?
No, Metamorphosis Alpha?
Metamorphosis Alpha, because I couldn't remember what MA stood for, because he just gave the abbreviations.
I thought he said Aunt May. I was like, Aunt May.
I couldn't hear
what does she
either.
stand for?
I was like,
Justice? I don't know what Aunt May stands for.
So he was talking about the various game systems, like Metamorphosis Alpha and Gamma World, even Traveler and Boot Hill, because at the time Boot Hill was kind of happening.
Yeah.
You can
Traveler's
use
a different company.
Yeah, and you can use the tower to get yourself there as an explanation and different things. So I thought it was a nice little article how to use gates and how authors use them in their books, so you can kind of figure out your own kind of way and do that. So I thought it was a very nice article.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like we're saying, it's the beginning of all these games, but people are already trying to break them and add other games into them. And look, like we obviously played back in the day, Jack and I played in a system that, we went science fiction, fantasy, it was all mixed together like it was. So it's not a new thing, but it's funny that seeing way back at the beginning, it was still around. Like that was funny. Got to mix everything together. Big crock pot.
Yep. Well, everyone does that sooner or later because, you fall in love with your character and you wonder, I want to bring it to Boot Hill.
Yeah. I want a laser gun.
Yeah. All right. Our next suit. Rob, what do you got for your second article?
My real article, Dragon Rumbles doesn't count, people, come on. It's on page, I think, 12 of the PDF. Yes, it's the Sorcerer's Scroll. I do love Gygax talking. This time he's all about Greyhawk, which is interesting, because this is the beginning of Greyhawk. And it's all about the Greyhawk Gazetteer, because I remember before the big Greyhawk, like City of Greyhawk book, there was the Gazetteer, which was more like the surrounding areas and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
So we thought, City of Greyhawk's not coming for a few years yet, but this is the Gazetteer's coming out. So it's kind of what are they saying? Codifying the world of D&D as Greyhawk, and says so he's typing that up. He says there could be up to 10 modules set in this world, which I don't know what modules are set where. Like I'm sure most of them are anyways. And the talking about when in his own game they were playing that under Greyhawk. You know how there's a huge dungeon under Greyhawk. It was like 9 levels, and now it's up to like 20 plus levels. So he said that's going to be a pain to write. That's why the City of Greyhawk book's going to take so long, because there's so much to write for that. He says the mass battle game's still in development and could include thousands of minis eventually. It's funny, we haven't. I don't remember a mass battle game set in Greyhawk. There might have been. I just don't remember it. But so we'll see if that actually happens. The miniatures are happening, but I wonder if the actual game happens. He also says the Temple of Elemental Evil is delayed because he has to rethink how the dungeons work, because there's 50 plus dungeons in Temple of Elemental Evil. So he's really trying to figure out how to do it. I think he's trying to figure out a way to do it random dungeons instead of having to write all the specific things out every single time, because that'd be a big book. So the Greyhawk Gazetteer map and module are coming soon. He says the mini games on the horizon, and City of Greyhawk is in the coming years. He's also mentions Fiendfolio, which is funny. I never knew this, but Fiendfolio is a joint venture between TSR and GW. I never knew that.
Yes, I saw that.
It was a TSR thing. But
I did too. I thought it was TSR UK.
Yeah, which is just, I don't think we talk about it in this article, but eventually that's coming up. TSR UK is starting. But yeah, so the Fiendfolio is coming out. Deeds and Demigods is done, so it should be out soon for AD&D. And Jeff Perrin, who's a famous guy from the history of D&D, is moving to Lake Geneva, and he's going to work on updating Chainmail and a miniature-based board game. Well, that sounds like, what is it, Dungeon or Dragon?
Dungeon?
Dungeon, yeah.
Dungeon, yeah.
I'm curious if that's what that is he's talking about. I always love seeing this because Gygax is laying things out, but you're also coming at hindsight and seeing what fits and what, it's kind of interesting. So it's the future of D&D is kind of laid out for at least Greyhawk's side. So that's fun.
Oh, no, there was an electronic miniature game put out by TSR.
An electronic miniature game?
Yeah. I almost bought it. They had it at Games Plus.
Dungeon?
Yeah, it was after Dungeon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dungeon.
This must be Dungeon, yeah.
No, Dungeon's already out, remember? Because we talked about, they were talking about Dungeon tournaments.
Yeah,
there were already tournaments. I just because the version of Dungeon I had wasn't that original version, so I thought it was a reimagining.
Yes, it was called Dungeons and Dragons Computer Labyrinth Game. It had like pewter figures, and they would fit into these squares, and you would map out the dungeon as you're walking your player across the thing. Games Plus had it for like $90, still working, and I almost bought it. I was there with Ronnie from the owner of Manti Games, and I almost bought it. I sat there for like a good 30 minutes just walking around going, do I buy it? Do I buy it? Do I buy it? And I got Ronnie go, you should buy it. You should buy it.
Yeah. But yeah. So it's curious what's coming to see that kind of board game side.
I might drive over there.
Now it's in the show. Well,
Next time I have a long set of days off.
We should see what the date on that is. What year it was invented.
Oh, I just had it up.
Yeah, if we can
it's
confirm
like 1981,
that it is
that would make sense.
Hold on, 1980.
Oh yeah, so that could be it. This is
written by who? Because we know who's in charge of it.
Yeah, is it Jeff Perrin?
I went to Board Game Geek. Is there a wiki?
Board Game Geek should say it's at the very top, doesn't it?
Let's see.
This is you're getting what happens in our minds. So we have to look at things up.
Designer Joe Sengier. Publisher Mattel Electronics. It was published by Mattel.
Oh, so maybe it's a licensed product then.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It had metal miniatures.
Metal. Pewter? No, probably lead back then. Is pewter started?
No.
Yeah, I guess pewter started by now.
I think pewter started because, we were at the asbestos.
Well, they call it white metal. That's they call it white metal back then for some reason. Anyways, That was my article. It's all about the history of Greyhawk and its coming. Because I remember the city of Greyhawk. I remember when that came out, we were like, dear God, this is amazing. Like, it's so detailed. Like, every inch of that city was mapped out. If somebody had it. I don't even remember who had it. Maybe I did play some of it, but I remember it was so vast that it was just like, and I remember looking through it.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
All right. Mr. Fike, what do you got?
If we could go to page 47.
47?
Second half of the mailbag, because I'm not doing the whole mailbag, obviously. But I just wanted to highlight... Well, one was the first one I want to highlight is called male-oriented, and it goes back to what we were talking about before. The young woman had said that how come all the people in all of the heroes that are being from history in the magazine are men? And okay, a really dumb take. Also, I get that one out of the way, and that gets knocked down pretty good. But she also brings up like a lot of fantasy material that she couldn't identify with, and she wanted to be more inclusive, and it was addressed very properly. The answer was, listen, we don't submit any. First of all, history, the heroes were men. Sorry, that's all we can do. But they said, we want women to be included, and we want people to be submit your stuff. We want all that kind of thing, and basically said it. They quoted Mark Twain that said, "Everyone complains about the weather, but no one does anything about it," which is funny and not really apropos, but that they don't want a sexist magazine. They don't want that, and named all the women that work on the magazine and all the things, and it was as someone brought up a point, it was discussed, and you would never see that back and forth today.
Yeah, it was like a nice diplomatic answer, and
all people enjoying the same hobby and not with any like nowadays the lines have been drawn, teams have been made, and if you just basically said, yeah, we're looking forward to, there would be no middle ground. But anyway, so that one was nice, and I bring it up because in a couple episodes it gets addressed again. So I just wanted to put a little beep bookmark on there, and for the future. And then I wanted to do a second one called Poor Taste, which is down near the bottom by the Raul Partha ad there, and it is someone who took umbrage about the angels taken from the Holy Bible used in this game. Oh. And so now this is a touchback.
We did that article.
To the past. We did, and I think it was Rob, but I'm not sure, had said, yep, someone's going to have a problem with this. And yes, Von L. Shepard from Lafayette, they certainly said that the Holy Bible was not to be taken lightly, and the words of God shouldn't be used for games. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But did you read the next one, which is funny? It's the Bravo one is the exact opposite.
Someone who said, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian and I took," but
the thing is, the second one is written by Fantasy Smith, the guy who does the miniature thing. So I think they were like, "Hey, could someone write a response to this?"
Yeah.
So.
Well, let me just point out the guy who wrote the offended article is from Lafayette, Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
that says something.
It might as well be Bible Belt.
Yeah.
The woman who wrote the she didn't see herself represented in Dragon magazine was from East Lansing, Michigan, and I've never met anyone from
everybody from Lansing,
Michigan.
Ugh, terrible people.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're all male dominated over there.
Oh, the worst people, just the worst. God. So human filth aside, no. So I just wanted to address the one that we're going to see in the future, and one
misogynistic podcast they got going out of there.
Yeah, just don't listen to Dragon. Dead Zone the podcast. Don't listen to
that. You almost said the Dragon's Tome.
I did.
Don't listen to the Dragon's Tome. Don't.
Those misogynistic. Oh wait, wrong guys. But Fantasy Smith, that thing, it's not a Raul Partha ad. It's Fantasy Smith added to his letter a way to convert regular miniatures into angels, which adds insult to injury to the guy who hates the idea.
That's funny.
I never took the compare. Okay, yes.
I didn't read that far down. I thought that was just like that angel conversion was part of his article.
No,
normally,
it's Fantasy Smith was like, hey, I like the idea of angels in D&D. Here's a way to make miniatures into angels.
So a little extra. Okay. Well, that was my article.
All right. So for me, let's head down to my last one, page 57.
That's the 57's the module.
Exactly.
What? No.
This is the reason why the thing is $3.
That's true.
I'm only pulling this out. I'm only pulling this out because of. So we talked about how Geek Nation Tour canceled their D&D tour. And Terrace is a good friend of mine.
I don't know if we talked about that on the air, but you don't have to go into
No, that was a pre-show discussion.
All right, well, Geek Nation Tours had a D&D tour where you could go to Lake Geneva and you would play D&D in the house that Gygax grew up in. You could go to the basement and play where they were played and do that. And then he would do other things. He had... you could go to... where was it? I think it was the Botanical Garden Hall where they had their first Gen Con, and you could play in there. He had it all lined up, and it was a pretty great tour, and it was kind of popular, but just kind of things fell through the cracks, and some of the things that
may or may not be bad people who are
yeah, some of the things that the Gygax have said in the past have come to light, and in the end, he had to cancel his tour. So, as a friend of Terrace, he invited me and a couple other guys that we know.
Since it's a long story, just to invite Rob and I, you could have just said.
I could ask him, but regardless what it was said, is that what that means you'd have to actually leave Canada, Jack. And I know how you fear that at this point.
I fear it.
So he has all that still booked. So rather than lose the money, he invited us all to come hang out for the 5 days and play D&D and do all the stuff just as fun.
Cool.
So
that's amazing. Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
So and the reason why I bring this out is because I read this and I was like, ooh, maybe I could play this as a module that no one's played with before in D&D, because we're all taking turns running through different games over a course of 5 days. And so that's why I wanted to point this out.
You might run this one?
I pretty much do. And mainly it caught my eye because it looks like the guy who did the artwork that did the A modules, the Slave Lord modules. Do you remember those ones?
Mm-hmm.
The Pits of the Slave Lord. So this guy, the guy who drew this, like I think even this picture on page M3 might actually be in the Slave Lord book in one of the modules.
Into the pit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has that module art style for sure.
With the cross hatching, with the stippling, every time you see that D and then the year, that guy is early D&D art for me. Like,
I'm definitely going to have to go look through my my modules and see if I can find the Slave Lord one and see if his initials are on that. But that was my third thing because I dug it.
Cool.
Good.
Rob, you have any more?
Yeah, I got just some quick hits here, like I always do. Page 17. 19 is the miniature spotlight. Once again, this is Fantasy Smith. Only reason I want to bring this up is because he teaches you how to make your miniatures deadly to your hands. He's making lances out of actual metal. Real lances, pretty much. So every time you try to pick up your miniature, you're going to get stabbed. So that's what this article is all about. Which, don't do it, people. Metal is not meant to be... metal spears are not meant to be on miniatures. It's painful.
Yeah, he even sharpens it by using a file. Yeah. Look at that thing.
Yeah, these are like literally real spears. I would like to see people... I wish there was a letters column after this saying, I did what Fantasy Smith told me to do, and now I had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, tetanus is real, people.
Yeah, tetanus.
Cool.
That was a quick one for me.
Jack, you have any more? You got any quick ones? You got any slow ones?
No, I have. I'm ready for ads. If everyone else is ready to dabble in.
He's not ready for ads.
Okay, well then.
Rob's a go-getter. The rest of us are just kind of...
Well, for this one, there's some other ones I don't have.
We're get-buyers.
Good. We can make this episode a little extra long because the next magazine, I did not find anything. So that one will be short. Everyone strap in for this one. Yeah. Because next week...
I agree. That might be short, too. Do you want to say there was a game review for a game called Belter about mining asteroids? And I was like, did the people from Expanse read this? Or play this?
Belta.
Yeah.
Did he talk like that? The Belta.
Yeah. Belta Loda.
It was funny because all of those of the critiques for all the games that are in there, none of them were really that shining, and I was like, oh, that's...
Yeah, Belter doesn't get much good review there.
There was no good reviews for any of those games.
My real other last one is on page 30. It's Eye of the Dragon. This is a new article, which it's only been in this one so far. It's all about the hobby industry news, which is kind of cool. It's actually the news, what's happening around the hobby world. So there's a few quick hits here. The SSI is putting out computer games. SSI obviously becomes super famous for...
the Gold Box.
Yeah. It's the Strategic Simulations Incorporated. But,
they make a bunch, too. They also made a bunch of World War II ones, like Panzer General is like one of my favorite games.
This first one's called Bismarck. It's all about sinking the Bismarck. So SSI is starting.
SSI couldn't go wrong in the 90s.
Yeah, lots of box games we played. The cost of dice is also going up because of the oil crisis, which is interesting. So
thank you.
Buy your dice. Thank you, OPEC.
Well, it was 1990. Yeah, it was 1980, so we had just gotten rid of Jimmy Carter.
There you go. Did he screw up the oil crisis?
Yes.
This is also where they mentioned that TSR is expanding to UK with TSR Hobbies UK. So I wonder if this is a beginning of the fracture with GW, because GW was the official licensor for D&D in the United Kingdom. So now that they have their own thing, I wonder if GW got a little pissy about that and then started their own stuff after this. Or was forced to because they no longer could be distributing.
Maybe, but GW also had ties with Citadel Diminishers, so I wonder if that's what...
yeah, they were like the same company, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah. That would be interesting if we could figure that out.
How soon Warhammer starts, yeah. After this. I assume Warhammer was Warhammer their first product? Like
yes.
On their own? Yeah.
I think so.
I would assume so. Unless it was like Lord of the Rings or something, because they did that for a long time too. But I think they didn't get the license for that until the movies came out. I'm not sure.
Well, no, yeah, the current Lord of the Rings that they got going on is from the licensing from the movies. And I don't remember them having a Lord of the Rings license prior to that.
Yeah, so it was all about the old... Well, we already know White Dwarf's going already, because Dragon distributes it in the United States. So also, Avalon Hill is creating a computer game division called Microcomputer Games, which is also a name I remember from as a kid. Microcomputer Games, but so I didn't know it was owned by Avalon Hill, which is interesting to bring some of their board games to the computers.
I do remember Microcomputer. I think they made a Conan game for the Apple IIc.
I'm amazed you remember this kind of thing. Like, my brain doesn't go back a week, let alone remember.
Oh, I remember. But, the thing is, my brain remembers the first computer games you ever really play, right? Because those were innovative.
That's why I remember the SSI one so much, yeah.
But if we talk Super Nintendo or NES, maybe Punch-Out is what I can remember.
Duck Hunt.
I
love Duck Hunt. Or I had one called, what was it called? You're shooting gangsters. It was another gun game for the Sega original Master System.
I wouldn't know. I don't know any Sega games.
Yeah, I had a Master System when I was a kid. We'll get there. The last big news is that Empire of the Pale Throne was sold by TSR and is now owned by a company called Game Science. No wonder we never heard of this game. It got sold off. So it must not be as popular as they pretended to be. They wouldn't have sold it.
No. And some poor sap got saddled with it, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Game Science.
Yeah, Game Science. No, I never heard of them. That's it. Yeah. That's my article.
Does that mean no more EPT for?
I'm sure we'll get some articles still here and there, but I think it's TSR backing it it's no longer going to get much publicity, and probably not many more products either.
The article does say the new EPT should be forthcoming, so they had all the intentions of doing it, but
yeah.
How about ads, Rob? You got any ads?
I don't have any ads, I don't believe. Oh, there was a Guys and Gals hobby shop in Chicago. You ever heard of it?
That was my ad.
Oh, there you go.
Bastard.
It's on page 19.
Well, let's go to it since we're talking about it now. Right. Guys and Gals was on Division Avenue, and that's one of the places I used to go get my stuff.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I would take the train down, take the red line to the blue line.
Did you tell them you saw it in Dragon?
No, because... but it was a nice little store. I don't remember when it went out, but I want to say in the 90s, I think, is when it disappeared. But I went away for college, so...
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a nice little store. I mean, it was one of the things we can get to, and I didn't have to drive. I could take the train.
There you go.
So, what do you got there, Mr. Pike?
Okay, we'll go to page 54 on the PDF. And we had discussed it.
Yep.
Yeah, we had discussed it, and this is a full-page ad for the forthcoming...
full color.
Greyhawk. And you know what? I had the Greyhawk box set, and I loved it. And
I have it.
I think I know I still have the books. Anyways, the box itself is probably gone.
I'm looking at it on my bookshelf.
Well, maybe I'll have to dig mine out. But all the heraldry around the outside was in the back covers, and like everything about this is just like a proto what I knew. Like even the colors they used. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I just wanted to say it. I know I know the two of you poo-pooed the world of Greyhawk for the Forgotten Realms, but for me,
when Forgotten Realms, I jumped ship big time. But
for me, this was it.
I blame the books and I blame the computer games, the gold box games. Mm-hmm. Eye of the Beholders 1, 2, 3.
Comics too are all Forgotten Realms too.
So yep, that was my ad. Well, there is one more ad that we do have to address, but I'll let.
Pat,
you sure you don't? You should no. That's it. Let's go to Jack's.
Well, I do have one other thing.
Oh,
to mention.
All right, go
ahead. There is a Rune Quest ad. I don't know if is Rune Quest come out yet? But
I think so. Yeah, it has come out by who did it?
Chaosium. Chaosium makes it.
Chaosium.
But I don't know if we saw any ads, but it's all about fantasy realism. Remember how Gygax was like, it's impossible to have realism in fantasy. Well, RuneQuest said, yeah, hold my beer. And
hold my beer. It's all about.
And I remember the magic system of RuneQuest is like renowned for being like accurate to like actual pagan magic. It's like, because the one guy, I think it was Steve Jackson actually it was the other guy who just recently died. He was a big proponent. Anyways, here's Rune Quest.
No, but there were some Rune Quest references in some of the Ogre ads when you get to that Chaosium in the last couple episodes. All right. So,
but the actual game's out now. Anyways, now to you, Jack. What is your big news here?
Page 56.
Yep.
I wonder what it could be.
Oh no,
the continuing saga. I don't know, guys.
I think I can flip this over somehow.
Upside down ad again.
It's disconcerting.
It is disconcerting. I think there's something afoot, and I just need to make sure that everyone is still looking into and following me along on this journey. There's something awry.
Effective? I guess in a magazine it'd be fine because you just turn it over. That's the question. I guess it stands out, but is it effective? That's the question. There's a lot of words. This ad has a lot of words in it.
It does.
I'm never going to read it, but there's a lot of words there.
And Rob has always said, look at the fine print, and the fine print does say that the miniature posted in the ad is not to scale. That is actually a 15 millimeter model, and that it. I should be impressed by. I should be impressed by its level of detail. To which I said,
"Is it from Planet of the Apes? It looks like one of the apes from Planet of the Apes."
Really?
Well, it's upside down. That's the impression I get.
Okay, I can kind of see it.
I did
that far.
I did the unspeakable and I rotated it.
Oh, well, that's poppycock.
No.
So yes, that is my ad.
It actually says pure poppycock in there.
I am I am keeping an eye. There's something afoot, and trust me, we'll get to the bottom of this.
You got it. All right. You guys got anything else?
No.
All right. Well, we come to another end of an episode of Dragon's Tome. I'd like to thank everyone for watching and listening and clicking and subscribing and belling and
yelling.
Fire trucks.
And probably fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of rainy out. So
it's the 4th.
It's the 1st.
So, all right. Well, guys, for the Dragon's Tome, I have been Chopper.
I'm Jack.
I'm still Rob.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.